You want to say?
All right. Calling to order a special meeting of the Grimes County Commissioners Court. The date is Thursday, February the 25th, 2020. The time is 11:15 a.m. 2021. Did I say 2020? 2021. We don't want to go back to that year. This year hadn't been much.
You're in 20.21 now.
Man, I'm telling you. We are at the 114 West Buffington Avenue, Anderson, Texas. This meeting is called to order. Agenda item number 2, discuss and take action to approve declaration of local disaster for severe winter storm issued on February 11, 2021. See the attachment. There's a little bit of confusion on dates, but I did issue a declaration of disaster under the authority of the county judge. However, my authority is only good for 7 days, and then the declaration must be approved by the Commissioners Court if it is to be extended. However, we were not able to meet because of inclement weather within that 7-day period. So effectively, this declaration of disaster has already expired. I did have conversation with the county attorney this morning. And Mr. Fultz, if I can get you to update the court on where you think we're at, and then I'll turn it over to you and Mr. Lilly.
So the provision that's in effect is Government Code 418-108. Two provisions that would control in this case, I think, are A and B. A says, except as provided by subsection E, the presiding officer of the governing body of a political subdivision may declare a local state of disaster. Subdivision B, or subsection B, says a declaration of local disaster may not be continued or renewed for a period of more than 7 days, except with the consent of the governing body of the political subdivision or the joint board as provided by subsection E as applicable. All that to say, I don't see anything that prohibits, and I think we've found ourselves in this place before. You would imagine under a circumstance where there's a disaster, there may be a problem having a meeting
Right.
within the 7-day period, especially because you got 72-hour notice, unless I guess you went to the 1-hour notice. But all to say, I don't see any problem with, if the court is inclined to continue the declaration, to make your action today effective upon the 7th day after the judge's initial action.
Thank you. And one of the reasons, in my opinion, it's a good idea for the court to extend this is because as we continue to calculate cost of damage and things of that sort, then we can put all of that towards either the governor's order or the FEMA assistance that we could indeed be entitled to.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we're at a point now that it must be renewed by the court because my time and my authority has expired. David, is there anything additional?
Judge, can I make one more comment on that?
Sure.
And so the conversation the judge and I had, I think the provision is to say that if you had a loose cannon who was a judge who wanted this for 7 days, like we do, if you wanted this provision for 7 days and then the rest of the court said, this guy's a madman, we don't want to continue this, then the most he has is 7 days. I don't think it's intended to prohibit the court from making your declaration effective at the last day of the court's action, or the judge's action. So, and the last thing I'd say is, you mentioned there's some issue on dates. The agenda item says the 11th, your order says the 15th. Doesn't matter to me, whatever day is right, and your minutes can reflect. If the court says we approve of this, we want to continue it, maybe your motion is it's effective the 7th day after the judge issued his, regardless of whether the agenda item says 11th or your order says 15th.
And the governor issued his on the 11th,
Yes,
did he
that's
not?
the reason we put the
Yes.
11th, yes, sir.
And by the time he had done his documentation and I was able to get the information with the assistance of David and Cherie. Of course, the 15th was a holiday, but we still were able to get it issued, or I issued it on that date.
Right, and for all intents and purposes, the actual storm really began, I believe, on the 13th, and we started suffering impact on the 14th, that Sunday.
Correct.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I know we're currently under a declaration for COVID,
Yes.
and that, I think, if memory serves me, that was we came together and made that
Last year.
as just to stay in effect until at some point in the future we determine it's probably not in need anymore.
Correct.
Well, I was reading this, and this says for not more than 7 days. Couldn't we do the same thing with this declaration?
Yes, sir. But that's the court's authority, not my authority.
Right, well, that's
Yeah.
what, I'm just trying to, I mean, I think for consistency purposes, I don't say, I mean, I don't.
Okay.
We're gonna be
Yeah.
dealing with some of these ramifications
For
for
a
a
while.
little longer than 7 days, I would think.
Mhm. And already have been.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
have the
this is for
form
the
that, does
judge's
somebody have the
declaration.
form that you all are gonna sign, or is it just gonna be reflected in the minutes? Because I think that's what Commissioner Cox is referring to, the form that you signed
Right.
says only 7 days.
Right.
I don't know if there's a form for the, I have that, but I'm saying, is there one for the court to sign, or are you just gonna have your minutes reflected?
I think the minutes would reflect that we would extend it until
Yeah, that's fine.
it's
That's fine.
decided by,
Just making the point that your order is now off the table.
Right.
We're not asking the court to sign your order.
no.
We're either gonna have a different order that says indefinitely, or you're just gonna put it in your minutes, and that's gonna be your order.
My preference, court, would be to put it in the minutes and be done with it.
Yeah, I agree with you, I don't, but will we need something to handle emergency management claims from FEMA, and depending on what the governor's gonna do for the,
It's my understanding this would suffice.
okay.
That was my understanding with the FEMA meeting yesterday
In
and
the
with
past,
Ponce Gonzalez.
Yeah, in the past, we have had an actual, kind of like a proclamation, same structure or the same type of instrument, but it would be, a formal piece of paper, like John was saying, as far as the Commissioners Court declaring a state of emergency, and then the judge and the commissioner signing it. But again, that's, at the discretion of the court, whether or not you see a need to do that. This time, there's already an order in place, and we're already declared. The governor took unilateral steps to go ahead and include us, both for, at least for individual assistance for our citizens. And this step here will open us up for potentially the public assistance, which is where FEMA comes in and assists with repairs for the county and for any of our water companies, our schools, any of that have suffered, and pretty much all of our water companies have suffered damages, and several of the schools have also suffered damages. So again, it's at, like the judge said, it's at the discretion of the court whether or not you see the need for a formal instrument to be signed. If you do, then we can have one prepared and have it dated for today.
Yeah, that's
Judge
it.
and Commissioner, subsection C, and I didn't read this to you, but an order or proclamation declaring, continuing, and terminating a local state of disaster shall be given prompt and general publicity and shall be filed promptly with the city secretary, the county clerk, or the joint board's official records as applicable. That seems to indicate that it'll be a separate document.
All right.
And I'll be helpful in
Didn't it-
whatever you guys need.
Sir?
I will be happy to help do whatever you, draft whatever you guys need. I assume that Dave has one in his back pocket, but if he doesn't,
No, not in this background.
Well, I believe that would be my preference, that you assist so we get the proper language and then we can move that forward. Now, would that just require the county judge's signatory with the court's approval?
the court always has the ability to delegate to one or more members to sign a proclamation or order, so it's always up to you as a court.
Since I started this, I'll make the motion that we have Mr. Lilly, our Emergency Management Services Coordinator, and the county attorney draft up the proper language in a document that extends our declaration of disaster and giving the county judge the authority to sign that document.
Second. Do we
Vanessa,
need to
please don't ask me to repeat that.
Specify the date it extended from, or we need to specify the date?
From the seventh day after the judge.
Yeah, seventh day after.
Declaration.
As required by the seventh day. Okay. There's a motion before the court on agenda item number 2 by County Judge Joe Faust, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us to agenda item number 3. Is there a motion to adjourn?
The motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Walker, is there a second?
Even if they ask me, though, it's gonna be long.
Chad Commissioner Mallett, all in favor? Is there discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. The time is 11:25. Thank you,
All right,
Commissioners.
thank you.